Okay, so I wanted to make a video where I am completely raw, honest, and vulnerable. And so I've made a few videos on YouTube now, and I've made a lot of posts on my Starseed Sloan Instagram account, and I felt recently like I haven't been myself or haven't introduced myself in a way. I kind of just went right into it, and I haven't been completely authentic and told you kind of who I am and my spiritual awakening process and where I am now, because it's hard for me to kind of accept where I am now. But in order to truly, I believe, find the people that I'm supposed to teach and the people who are in resonance with myself and my message and my frequency, I feel like I have to be true, which is hard for me to do because I have chronic fatigue. I've spent my entire life being somebody that I'm not. I used to want to be an actor because I justified it in my mind as I've acted my entire life, so why not do that for a job? So basically, my name's Sarah, and I live in a medium-sized city in Ontario, about an hour away from Toronto, if there's anybody from Canada who knows where that is. And I haven't had the best life up to this point, or until my spiritual awakening at least. And so, just a little bit of background information. I grew up with a mother who was a drug addict and who was like cheating on my dad, and just the dynamic of that from when I was 7 and under wasn't good. And when you're 7 and under, that's when you kind of like learn everything, and your brainwaves are in the hypnotic state, right? So you're like, all that I'm learning is like fighting and like betrayal and like all of these very low density emotions, right? So I spent my life basically trying to break up fights, trying to mother and nurture myself, because the people who are supposed to do that couldn't necessarily do that. And yeah, my parents split up when I was 7, and I had separation anxiety and issues since I was a baby because my mom went back to work too early, and so I didn't deal with that well. I dissociated completely from my body during all of this. I couldn't handle what was happening to me. That was a coping mechanism that I used. And so that led me to then going between my mom and my dad's house, not really feeling stable, being afraid of sleeping, starting to get anxiety and depression at a really young age. About 2 years after that, when I was 9, my mom left. She moved to another city about 2 hours away. I still saw her every other weekend or so, but when you're like a child and you're a girl, you just want your mom, right? She wasn't there. So I had to nurture myself. My dad was physically there, but he had a very hard job that's what he spent his time on, so he could physically provide. So there's nobody there that was emotionally available or supportive for myself. Therefore, I was isolated in my room a lot, trying to grow up and nurture myself without actual emotional support from parents. So this part's always hard for me to talk about because I can't even accept it myself, but I'm trying to. I was only 11 years old when I wanted to end my life. I couldn't tell you why at that point, because I dissociated so much from my childhood that I don't remember. I cannot access those memories because my mind is not ready to remember yet. But I do know that I was that age when I wanted to end my life, and I think I was either 11 or 12 when I started to self-harm, as well as stop eating, kind of all that shit, all of it, literally all of it, eating, anxiety, depression, mood swings, food, everything is basically what I dealt with at that time. But I had to deal with it without really necessarily having emotional support. So kind of at the time, I also did not have friends. Could never have a stable friend. Nobody liked me. I was always an outsider, never fit in. I was always the person that people just wanted to beat up, make fun of, push down, all that shit. So I never really had a stable friend, never really had a stable best friend. And so I was really alone. I was really lonely. And so I kind of turned to finding friends online. So my kind of big escapisms at the time was TV shows and movies. So I become so obsessed with the TV show characters, like so obsessed with them, like they were my life. And so then I would come online and I would be in like different like fan bases and just literally talk about it all the time. And all of my friends were just people who watched the same shows as me online, which was okay and valid at the time. So I grew up like that, and then I guess flash forward like till when I was 18. I was a really smart kid. Like one of my escapisms was school, so I was really smart in like the school terms. Like I could memorize things, and I also basically would only get validation in love if I got good marks on my report card. So I had to do good at school. But anyway, I graduated with like a 91%, whatever. Went to university. Really was close to killing myself again. So I dropped out, which obviously was not the best thing for my father, but whatever, I did it anyway because I knew that was best for me. And then I got really sick. I always kind of had like an on and off health. Like I always had like really bad period pain and stuff, but I didn't really think that was like abnormal. And I didn't understand it. And like I was tired. Sometimes I get sick sometimes, but whenever I was like unhealthy or something, like I would just get invalidated. Like you can't be sick. Like it's a burden to me, whatever. So that January after I dropped out of school, I only went for a few months. I got really sick. I was working a job that I worked for 4 or 5 years. Again, I worked a lot didn't have anything else to do. I didn't want to be home. So I got really sick. I would pass out. I'd be dizzy all the time, so lethargic. My legs wouldn't work properly. It just wasn't good. My digestive system was shit. I couldn't digest food. My stomach hurt so bad all of the time. So I was trying to work this job, but I kept passing out. And I kept feeling so sick that I couldn't really go. So then I had to work less and try to deal with my health, but the health wasn't getting any better. And so this was during the year that I was really in a specific fan base. I'm not going to name it because I'm not getting into it, but I was in a very specific fan base. And I was a bit obsessed. It was a singer. I went to a lot of concerts, traveled the world. I was, in North America. But I was really sick. I was still experiencing this like massive like sickness, like walking with a cane, but I still went on all these trips because I love traveling so much. It's what I'm so passionate about. I just wish to always travel. And so I did all these concerts and trips, etc. Pushed my health so far and hard because I thought I was going to die. This was last year. Now, as I'm filming this video, it's the end of 2019. This all happened during 2018. I thought I was going to die. I didn't know that I was going to be alive this year, and when I say that, I'm saying that with all sincerity. I did not think I was going to be alive in 2019. I thought that this health thing would take me out. I thought that I didn't know what happened, but I just thought that I was going to die. Every time I went on a trip, I kind of had to have that in the back of my mind. I kind of had to have, you might not come back in your head. Or I'd go to this concert and I would have to think, this might be the last time that you ever see this person. This might be the last time you ever travel. Because I just felt so sick, and no doctors, nobody could figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. And I'm sorry for swearing, but that's kind of showing my emotions, right? And so I pushed myself, was walking with the cane. This was I traveled from May to October. Sick throughout, quit my job, couldn't work anymore because I couldn't walk. And then it was November. So during this time, I started to like wake up a bit in terms of like Okay, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I was at my mom's house about the month, but it was Christmas. It was my mom's house Christmas 2 years ago, before I had passed out and stuff at my work. And I always had a fear of space. I was terrified of space. But basically I smoked a lot of weed with my mom, and I dissociated. I either dissociated from my body or I came back into my body. I'm not sure. And I had no idea what was going on. I was not in my body during Christmas. I was not in my body. I was out of it. I was gone, completely gone. But after this, for whatever reason, like the day after Christmas, all I could do was watch videos of people flying into space. I couldn't stop. I was so needing to watch people go into space. I had to get over this fear. I had to see that there was something bigger than myself, bigger than my own ego. So I spent this whole year trying to figure out how the fuck we're here, because I've always been interested in the universe. I've always tried to figure out, okay, how are we here? There's some bigger picture and I want to know it. So I kind of tried to figure that out. I took it down to the smallest particle, the smallest atom, until like that's kind of like what led me to like watching people like Aaron Dowdy or like Victor Odo and such, like getting into like the metaphysical parts of it. And then last November changed my life. I would attribute my spiritual awakening to two things. One, the physical illness that I was going through and the acceptance of my physical body's death, because I had accepted that I was going to die. Second, interestingly enough, and why I love portals so much, November 11th. The 11/11 portal. I kind of knew about it, but not like a lot. That like I knew that it was big change. I just was like, oh, there's like a portal. Like it's something where like things shift, whatever. So I was like, okay, whatever has to shift, I allow it to shift. I essentially woke up, and this is a story that's still hard for me to tell because it's still kind of stuck in my subconscious in a way, but I'm just trying to figure out how to phrase it without going into detail. I've had a past life where I was a witch, much like most people who'd probably be watching my content. And I was persecuted. A lot of people falsely accused me of being a witch or whatever, and then killed me. This storyline played out with me within the one fandom that I was so prominently active within. I was falsely accused of something. Everybody turned against me. I was exiled, essentially. So playing out that same type of thing. Interestingly enough, when I did my past life regression as a witch, it was the same similar people in the audience of that, like, said that I was a witch. So I was like, that makes sense. But yeah, so I was kind of persecuted out of the fandom or out of the tribe. And so this made me be alone again. Because during this time, I had friends for the first time. I was somebody. Sarah was somebody. She never was somebody. And as soon as she became somebody, she wanted to be nobody. Because once I got exiled, I realized that the entire time I was pretending to be somebody that I wasn't. I was using my coping mechanisms that I had to use with my mother and father of conforming to be the person that I needed to be in order to receive love or to survive. I realized I was being somebody that I was not, and it was not healthy, and that's why that happened, especially during the 11/11 portal. So essentially, from this, a lot of people were talking about me, a lot, using my name and saying different things that were not necessarily true, or that I didn't agree with in my truth, that I didn't see from my perspective. Some true, some false, some doesn't even make sense. But basically, I was then forced to think, who am I? If I'm not this Sarah that these people are saying, think about it, if a bunch of people are saying something about you and you do not identify with that at all, are you that person? Are you that person that they're talking about if you don't believe that you did that? So, it's winter, I have a lot of time to think, inward reflection, so I then wake up to everything that's happening right now to the point that I could, like, to my truth and perception at the time. And that's kind of what led me to, like, being more awake, but, like, I still had, like, that ego part of me. I'd had multiple ego deaths through the use of plant medicine, but, like, there was still stuff. right? So after that, I'm awake, blah, blah, blah. My health gets better in like 5 months after that. Interesting. As soon as it starts to get warmer out, my health doesn't do well in cold. I live in Canada, it's freaking cold. My health gets better. I'm not the same person, but I'm still conforming. I'm still in different relationships that I have, being somebody that I'm not. And so after about 5 or 6 months of good things happening, like I'm still a little bit anxious, I'm still a little bit depressed, but like the spiritual side kind of like took over and like could take me out of that. I was more positive more of the time. And then I started to get sick again. I was doing so well. I was at a job in Toronto. I was living alone. I was thriving, in my opinion. And then I got sick again. Basically, my digestive system just doesn't work. My intestines, so much pain. My legs are purple and they don't freaking work. And so I'm always tired. I'm tired all the time. And all of this is coming back now and so much more prevalent within this month of December. And as I've been posting on my account, like I've been posting about all of the stuff that I'm interested in, but it's still not being 100% completely authentically me, because I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about my health. I'm not reaching those people. I'm not connecting with other people who might be going through the same type of thing as me. I'm pretending like I'm okay and positive all of the time, because the pressure sometimes in the spiritual New Age community is that you have to be freaking positive all the time. And I'm going to tell you right now that that's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit to be positive all of the time. It doesn't work out. It's not all love and light. There is love, there is light, but you know what? We all have shadows, and we all need to fully experience them. Because what else are we supposed to do? How else are we supposed to experience love, joy, bliss, and peace if we don't experience anger, fear, guilt, and shame? We have to feel the whole spectrum of the emotions in order to live. You're not living fully if you're just stuck in this like happiness band. You're not allowing yourself to feel these emotions. They're going to get stored and stuck. That's what happened to me, and that's what's causing all this physical illness, is that I've suppressed these emotions because I felt like I had to be love and light. So if anybody's telling you that in order to be spiritual you have to be freaking happy all the time, no. Pass, skip, delete, unfriend, unfollow. But I really wanted to say that, and I really wanted to be honest about the position that I'm in right now, because I wake up every day and I am barely awake. I feel like I'm barely alive, and it's so hard for me to, I guess, do everything that I need to do or feel like I need to do, because I've been conforming and being this other person. And so I thought that I could film this video and I would post this video, and if people don't like me, whatever. If you like me, that's cool. I like you too. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to be honest and raw and vulnerable instead of just pretending like everything's okay all the time. It's tiring, right? It's why I have chronic fatigue. I'm tired of being somebody else all the time. So I thought I would take this opportunity to be real, honest, and vulnerable, and just use my throat chakra, speak it out, and yeah. I don't really know what else I was thinking to get out of this. I just wanted to be me. So yeah, if you like this video, thanks for listening to me talk and rant for 20 minutes. I do appreciate and I'm grateful for everybody who follows me, watches my content, purchases my courses. I love making courses so much. It makes me so happy. So I love you if you've ever gotten one of my courses. I love you even if you haven't. But yeah, so this is me. This is me right now. And yeah, have a great day and Peace.